The day the sky lit up with 1,000 stars was the day everything changed. It wasn't night. It was high noon in New York City. The busy streets came to a sudden stop as people looked up, mouths open in awe. The stars grew bigger and brighter. Soon, everyone realized they weren't stars at all. They were ships. Panic spread like wildfire. Cars crashed. People ran. Phones buzzed with emergency alerts. Within minutes, the world knew aliens were here. As the ships got closer, their size became clear. The largest one was as big as a small city. It slowly descended, hovering over Central Park. Smaller ships spread out, covering major cities across the globe. In the White House, President Sarah Chen paced back and forth. Her advisors watched in silence, fear clear on their faces. The red phone on her desk rang. It was the UN Secretary General. "Madam President, they're asking to speak with us. All of us." Chen took a deep breath, patched them through to the emergency broadcast system. The world needs to hear this. Across the planet, TVs, radios, and phones crackled to life with a single message. "People of Earth, we come in peace. We are the Galactic Empire. We wish to speak with your leaders." Hours later, in a hastily prepared UN meeting, leaders from around the world gathered. The air was thick with tension. Then they appeared. The aliens looked almost human, but not quite. They were tall, with skin that shimmered like oil on water. Their eyes were large and completely black. The leader stepped forward, his long robes flowing as if in a breeze no one else could feel. "Greetings, humans," he said, his voice deep and melodious. "I am Ambassador Zax of the Galactic Empire. We have watched your planet for centuries. Today, we bring you a message of utmost importance." The room held its breath. "Stay away from Earth." Confused murmurs filled the room. President Chen stood up. "I'm sorry, but I don't understand. You're telling us to stay away from our own planet." Ambassador Zax's face remained impassive. "No, we're telling you to stay on it. Do not venture into space. Do not attempt to colonize other planets. Stay here, on Earth, where you belong." The Chinese president, Lai Wei, spoke next. "But why? We have already begun exploring our solar system. It is our destiny to reach for the stars." For the first time, emotion flickered across Zax's face. Was it fear? "Your destiny threatens the entire galaxy," Zax said. "We have seen it. We have fought it. And now, we are here to prevent it." The room erupted in angry shouts and demands for explanation. Zax raised a hand, and silence fell instantly. "We will not elaborate further. This is both a warning and a command. Dismantle your space programs. Cease all attempts to leave your atmosphere. If you do not comply, there will be consequences." With that, Zax and his delegation vanished in a shimmer of light. The UN erupted into chaos. Leaders argued, diplomats frantically made calls, and the media outside clamored for answers. In the following days, the world was a powder keg of emotions. Some people celebrated, believing the aliens had saved them from some unknown horror in space. Others raged against the idea of being confined to Earth, seeing it as a cage. Conspiracy theories spread like wildfire. What were the aliens hiding? What made humans so dangerous that an entire galactic empire feared them? World leaders struggled to maintain order. Emergency meetings were held day and night. The big question on everyone's mind: do we comply or do we fight back? In secret labs and hidden facilities, scientists and military leaders met. They pored over every scrap of data from the alien encounter. They debated the risks and rewards of defiance. And in homes around the world, families huddled together, wondering what this new reality meant for their future. Parents looked at their children and wondered, would they ever see the stars up close? As the days turned into weeks, one thing became clear. Humanity had been given a choice, but it was a choice that went against their very nature. For as long as they had existed, Humans had looked up at the night sky with wonder and longing. Now they were being told that the vastness of space was off limits. The warning was clear. The consequences, unknown. But the spark of rebellion, of curiosity, of the undying human spirit to explore and discover, that was just beginning to ignite. The Galactic Empire had given their warning. Now it was humanity's turn to respond. 3 months after the aliens' warning, the world was still in shock. But for a small group of scientists and adventurers, shock had turned into determination. In a hidden underground lab in the Nevada desert, Dr. Elena Rodriguez looked at her team. "We all know why we're here," she said, her voice firm. "The aliens told us to stay put, but that's not who we are. Humans explore. It's in our blood." The team nodded. They were a mix of astronauts, engineers, and even a few military personnel who had gone rogue. All of them had given up everything to be here. The governments of the world may have agreed to the aliens' demands. Elena continued, "But we didn't. We're going to build a ship, and we're going to leave Earth." It wasn't easy. With all official space programs shut down, they had to work in secret. They scrounged for parts, hacked into old databases, and worked day and night. Months passed. The ship took shape in a massive underground hangar. They called it the Rebel Spirit. But they weren't the only ones busy. Up in space, the aliens had left behind patrol ships. These sleek, silver crafts circled Earth, watching for any sign of defiance. One night, as the team was running final checks on the Rebel Spirit, alarms blared. "We've been detected," shouted Alex, their security expert. Someone must have talked. "We've got government forces incoming." Elena made a split-second decision. It's now or never. Everyone, to the ship. The team scrambled aboard as the hangar doors above them began to open. The Rebel Spirit's engines roared to life. Just as armed forces burst into the hangar, the ship shot upwards. The soldiers below could only watch in awe as the Rebel Spirit disappeared into the night sky. But their problems were just beginning. As they broke through the atmosphere, they saw them, the alien patrol ships. "Evasive maneuvers," yelled Elena, strapping herself into the captain's chair. The ship zigzagged through space, narrowly avoiding energy blasts from the alien vessels. "We can't outrun them forever," said Mike, their pilot. His hands flew over the controls, guiding the ship in impossible turns. Elena gritted her teeth. "We're not trying to outrun them. We're aiming for that." She pointed at a shimmering distortion in space ahead of them. The team gasped. It was a wormhole, just like the ones they'd theorized about but never seen. "Are you crazy?" shouted Lisa, the engineer. "We don't know where that leads." "We don't have a choice," Elena replied. "It's either that or go back to Earth as prisoners." The alien ships were closing in. Energy blasts rocked the Rebel Spirit. Warning lights flashed across the control panel. "Wormhole in range in 3, 2, 1. Mike's voice was tense. Elena took a deep breath. "Do it." The Rebel Spirit plunged into the wormhole. The ship shuddered violently. Outside the windows, reality itself seemed to bend and twist. And then, suddenly, it was over. The ship burst out of the wormhole into unknown space. Behind them, the entrance collapsed, cutting off their pursuers. For a moment, there was silence. Then, cheers erupted throughout the ship. They had done it. They had defied not just their own governments, but an entire galactic empire. As the excitement died down, reality set in. They were alone in unknown space, with no way back home. Elena stood up, looking out at the unfamiliar stars. "Well, team, we wanted to explore. Looks like we're going to get our chance." Over the next few weeks, the Rebel Spirit ventured deeper into uncharted space. They discovered new planets, narrowly escaped space anomalies, and even had a few peaceful encounters with alien species that seemed unaware of the Galactic Empire's warning. But as they explored, questions nagged at them. Why had the Empire been so afraid of humans leaving Earth? What was the real reason behind the warning? Little did they know, their actions had set off a chain of events that would shake the very foundations of the galaxy. Back on Earth, their escape had inspired others. Secret groups formed, planning their own rebellions. And somewhere out in the vast expanse of space, the Galactic Empire received word of the humans' defiance. The Emperor, a being of immense power and age, closed his eyes in worry. "So it begins," he whispered. "The prophecy is coming true. The great destroyers have taken their first step into the galaxy." As the rebel spirit journeyed on, its crew remained unaware of the cosmic drama they had set in motion. They were explorers, adventurers, the first humans to truly reach for the stars. And they were about to discover that the universe was far more complex, dangerous, and wondrous than they had ever imagined. The rebel spirit drifted through the vastness of space, its crew marveling at the wonders they encountered. It had been 3 months since their daring escape from Earth, and each day brought new discoveries. One morning, as the ship approached a small blue planet, alarms blared. "Unknown craft approaching," shouted Mike from the pilot's seat. Alina rushed to the bridge. "Friendly or hostile?" Before anyone could answer, a voice crackled over the ship's speakers. "Unidentified vessel, state your purpose and origin." The crew exchanged nervous glances. This was their first contact with an advanced alien civilization. Alina took a deep breath and responded, "We are peaceful explorers from the planet Earth." Silence filled the air. Then, to everyone's surprise, the alien voice replied in perfect English, "Earth. Impossible. Approach our station for inspection." As they neared the alien space station, the crew gasped. It was a massive structure, easily dwarfing their ship. The rebel spirit was guided into a docking bay, where they were met by tall, slender beings with iridescent skin. The alien leader stepped forward. "I am Zorn, overseer of this outpost. You claim to be from Earth, yet the Galactic Empire has forbidden humans from leaving their planet. Explain yourselves." Alina told their story, the Empire's warning, their secret rebellion, and their journey through space. As she spoke, she noticed the aliens exchanging worried glances. Zorn's expression grew grave. "You shouldn't be here. The Empire, they fear humans for a reason." "But why?" Alina pressed. "What makes us so dangerous?" Zorn hesitated, then motioned for them to follow. He led them to a vast library filled with holographic displays. With a wave of his hand, he brought up an ancient text. "This is the prophecy of the great destroyers," Zorn explained. "It speaks of a species with unparalleled potential for growth and adaptation. A species that, if left unchecked, could bring chaos to the entire galaxy." The crew listened in shock as Zorn revealed the truth. Humans, it turned out, had a unique ability to evolve and adapt at an incredible rate. While other species took millennia to develop new traits, humans could do it in generations. "But that's not all," Zorn continued. "Your potential for technological advancement is unprecedented. The Empire fears that if humans spread throughout the galaxy, they would quickly surpass all other civilizations." As the crew digested this information, alarms suddenly blared throughout the station. Zorn's eyes widened in fear. "The Empire. They found us." Through the station's windows, they saw a massive Imperial warship appear. A booming voice echoed through the station. "This is the Galactic Empire. Surrender the humans immediately." Zorn turned to Alina and her crew. "You must leave now. We'll hold them off as long as we can." As they rushed back to the rebel spirit, chaos erupted around them. The station's defenses engaged the Imperial ship, filling space with explosive light. Once aboard, Mike fired up the engines. "Where do we go?" he shouted over the commotion. Alina's mind raced. Then a crazy idea struck her. "Back to Earth," she said firmly. "What? Why?" The others protested. "Think about it," Alina explained as their ship dodged debris. "If what Zorn said is true, then Earth needs to know. We can't let the Empire keep us in the dark about our own potential. As they sped away from the battle, Alina couldn't shake a feeling of both excitement and dread. They had discovered the truth, but at what cost? And how would Earth react to this knowledge? Looking back at the fading battle, Alina saw the Imperial ship break through the station's defenses. Her heart sank, thinking of Zorn and his people. Their sacrifice wouldn't be in vain. "Set course for Earth," she commanded, her voice filled with determination. "It's time our people knew the truth." As the rebel spirit jumped to light speed, Alina knew their real journey was just beginning. They were no longer just explorers. They were now the bearers of a truth that could change the fate of humanity and the entire galaxy. The Empire had tried to keep humans away from the stars, but in doing so, they had only ignited the very spark they feared, humanity's unquenchable thirst for knowledge and progress. As Earth grew closer, Alina prepared herself for the challenges ahead. The future was uncertain, but one thing was clear: humanity's destiny among the stars could no longer be denied. While the rebel spirit raced back to Earth, strange things were happening on the blue planet. It started small, almost unnoticeable. In a quiet town in Japan, a young girl named Akira woke up one morning and found she could hear her parents' thoughts. At first, she thought she was dreaming. But as days passed, she realized it was real. She could read minds. Across the world in Brazil, a farmer named Joao was working in his fields when he suddenly felt a strange power. With just a thought, he could make plants grow faster. His crops flourished overnight, leaving his neighbors amazed and confused. In New York City, a bus driver named Sarah discovered she could move things without touching them. It started when she caught a falling cup of coffee in midair, without even lifting a finger. These weren't isolated incidents. All over the world, people were waking up to new, incredible abilities. Telepathy, telekinesis, super strength, healing powers, abilities once thought to be only in comic books were becoming real. The world's governments tried to keep it quiet at first. They didn't want to cause panic, but it was impossible to hide for long. One day, a video went viral. It showed a teenager in Australia lifting a car to save a trapped dog. The video was seen by millions in just hours. More videos followed. People flying, controlling the weather, even shape-shifting. The world erupted in chaos and wonder. News channels couldn't keep up with all the reports coming in. Social media exploded with people sharing their new abilities. Some people were scared. They locked themselves in their homes, afraid of what was happening. Others were excited, eager to discover if they had powers too. Scientists were baffled. They ran tests, did studies, but couldn't explain why this was happening. It seemed that human DNA itself was changing, evolving at an impossible speed. In the White House, President Chen watched the reports with growing concern. She turned to her advisors. Could this be related to the aliens' warning? No one had an answer, but they all felt the same thing. A mix of fear and excitement about what this meant for humanity's future. As days passed, more people developed abilities. It wasn't everyone, but it was enough to change society forever. Schools had to adapt to teach children with superpowers. New laws were made to deal with people who misused their abilities. But there was also wonder and hope. People with healing powers volunteered in hospitals, curing diseases that were once thought incurable. Those who could control plants helped grow food in desert areas, solving hunger problems. The United Nations called an emergency meeting. Leaders from around the world gathered to discuss this new reality. Some wanted to try and stop it, to find a way to turn people normal again. Others argued that this was humanity's next step in evolution. As they debated, news came in that shook them all. The Galactic Empire's ships, which had been silently watching Earth since their warning, were now moving. They were coming closer, their huge ships filling the sky. People around the world looked up in fear. Were the aliens angry about humanity's new powers? Were they coming to stop it? In orbit, aboard the rebel Spirit, Alina and her crew watched in awe as they approached Earth. They had come to warn their planet, but it seemed Earth had changed dramatically in their absence. "Look at those ships," Mike said, pointing at the Empire's fleet. "They're preparing for something big." Elena nodded, her face determined. "And we're going to be ready for them. It's time to show the Empire what humans can really do." As they prepared to re-enter Earth's atmosphere, Elena couldn't help but feel a mix of pride and worry. Humanity had unlocked its potential faster than anyone could have imagined. But would it be enough to face the Galactic Empire? The stage was set for a confrontation that would determine the fate of not just Earth, but the entire galaxy. And at the center of it all were the humans, a species that had just discovered its true, awesome potential. The rebel spirit broke through Earth's atmosphere, flames licking its hull. As they descended, Elena and her crew saw the world they left had changed dramatically. Cities glowed with strange energies, and in the streets below, people flew and used incredible powers. "It's like a superhero movie down there," Mike said in awe. But their amazement was short-lived. Alarms blared as Imperial ships entered Earth's atmosphere behind them. "They're following us in," shouted Lisa from the engineering station. Elena gritted her teeth. "We need to land and warn Earth's leaders. Mike, take us to the UN headquarters in New York." As they approached New York, they saw chaos. People with newfound powers clashed with those without. Some used their abilities to help, lifting fallen buildings or healing the injured. Others caused destruction, their powers unchecked. Suddenly, a massive energy blast from an Imperial ship struck a skyscraper. The building began to topple. "We have to help," Elena cried. Without hesitation, Mike steered the rebel spirit towards the falling building. They watched in amazement as people on the ground used telekinesis to slow its fall. Elena used the ship's tractor beam to stabilize it further. Working together, the powered humans and the rebel spirit's crew managed to set the building down safely. Cheers erupted from the streets below. But the victory was short-lived. Imperial ships descended, their weapons charging. "Attention, humans," a booming voice echoed across the city. "Your species has violated our warning. Surrender now or face annihilation." Elena turned to her crew. "We need to get to the UN. It's our only chance to unite Earth against this threat." They landed the rebel spirit in front of the UN building, where world leaders had gathered for an emergency session. As Elena and her crew rushed in, they were met with a mix of awe and suspicion. "Who are you?" demanded President Chen. "We're the ones who left Earth," Elena explained quickly. "And we know why the Empire fears us." As Elena shared what they had learned about human potential, the room fell silent. The revelation that humanity's rapid evolution was the reason for the Empire's fear changed everything. Suddenly, the building shook. Outside, Imperial forces had begun their attack. "We need to fight back," shouted the Russian president. "But how?" asked another leader. "Even with these new powers, we're outnumbered and outgunned." That's when an unexpected voice spoke up. It was Akira, the young Japanese girl who had first discovered her telepathic powers. "I can help," she said, her voice carrying the strength beyond her years. "I can connect all the powered humans mentally. We can coordinate our defense." The world leaders looked skeptical, but Elena stepped forward. "Let her try. It might be our only chance." With the leaders' reluctant agreement, Akira closed her eyes and concentrated. Across the globe, millions of newly powered humans suddenly felt a connection, a unity of purpose. Outside, the battle raged. Imperial forces clashed with Earth's defenders. Humans with super strength grappled with alien war machines. Those who could control the elements summoned storms and earthquakes to fight back. The rebel spirit took to the skies again, joining the fray. Elena and her crew used their knowledge of Imperial tactics to coordinate Earth's defense. But the Empire's forces were vast. For every ship they destroyed, two more seemed to take its place. Earth's defenders, despite their incredible powers, began to falter. Just when all seemed lost, something incredible happened. João, the Brazilian farmer with plant controlling abilities, had an idea. He reached out through Akira's mental network to others with similar powers. Together, they focused their energy on Earth itself. The planet responded. Massive vines erupted from the ground, entangling Imperial ships. Forests grew in minutes, providing cover for human fighters. The tide of the battle began to turn. Humans, united in purpose and amplified by their connection to Earth, pushed back against the Empire's forces. As the sun set on the first day of the battle, the Imperial ships began to retreat. A cheer went up from the defenders of Earth. But Alina knew this was just the beginning. The Empire wouldn't give up so easily. As she looked out at the battered but unbroken Earth, she realized that humanity's greatest challenge and its greatest adventure was just beginning. The universe had underestimated humans. Now, it was time to show the galaxy what humanity could really do. The day after the battle, Earth was different. Smoke rose from damaged cities, but amid the ruins, hope bloomed. Humans with healing powers worked tirelessly to help the injured. Those with strength and telekinesis cleared debris, rebuilding faster than ever before. Alina and her crew were hailed as heroes. They stood before the United Nations, ready to share what they had learned in space. "The Galactic Empire fears us," Alina began, her voice echoing through the hall. "Not because we're evil, but because we can change. We can grow faster than any species they've ever seen." Murmurs filled the room. Alina continued, "They told us to stay on Earth because they were afraid of what we might become if we spread to the stars." The UN Secretary General stood up. "But why? What makes us so different?" Alina took a deep breath. "It's our ability to adapt. Other species take thousands of years to evolve. We can do it in a single generation. And now, with these new powers, we're evolving faster than ever." As the implications sank in, a new message arrived. The Galactic Empire was calling for a truce. They wanted to talk. Hours later, Alina found herself face to face with the Emperor himself. He wasn't what she expected. He looked old and tired, his eyes filled with a mix of fear and wonder. "You humans," he said, his voice surprisingly gentle, "you have no idea what you are, do you?" Alina stood tall. "Then tell us. We deserve to know the truth." The Emperor nodded slowly. "Long ago, there was a race known as the Precursors. They were powerful beyond imagination. They could reshape planets, move stars. But they disappeared, leaving behind a prophecy." He waved his hand, and a hologram appeared. It showed strange symbols that shifted and changed. The prophecy spoke of a new race that would rise. The Emperor continued, "A race with the potential to become like the Precursors. We thought it was just a legend until we found Earth." Alina's mind raced. "You mean we're descended from these Precursors?" The Emperor shook his head. "No, you're something new, something that could be even greater. That's why we feared you, why we tried to keep you isolated." As Alina listened, she felt a mix of awe and responsibility. Humans weren't just another species. They were the next step in the galaxy's evolution. But with that knowledge came a heavy question. The Emperor asked it first. "Now that you know your potential, what will you do with it?" Alina didn't have an answer. She realized that this was the real test. Not the battle they had just fought, but the choices they would make now. Back on Earth, Alina shared what she had learned. The news spread quickly, thanks to the telepathic network Akira had created. People reacted differently. Some were excited, ready to explore the stars. Others were scared, worried about the responsibility. Many just wanted to use their new powers to help rebuild their homes. World leaders debated what to do next. Should they join the Galactic Empire? Stay independent? Explore the galaxy on their own? As the discussions continued, something unexpected happened. People's powers began to change. Those who used their abilities to help others grew stronger. Those who misused them found their powers fading. Scientists studied this phenomenon. Amazed, it seemed that human evolution was now tied to not just physical traits, but moral choices as well. Elena watched all of this with a mix of hope and worry. Humanity had been given an incredible gift, but also a great responsibility. They had the potential to become like gods, to reshape the galaxy, but they could also destroy themselves if they weren't careful. As night fell, Elena looked up at the stars. The galaxy was waiting, full of wonders and dangers. But for the first time, she felt that humans were ready to face it. The Galactic Empire had warned humans to stay away from Earth. Instead, they had pushed humanity to discover its true potential. Now, the real journey was about to begin. Elena smiled. Whatever challenges lay ahead, she knew one thing for certain. The future was going to be incredible. 5 years had passed since the day the Galactic Empire tried to stop humanity's growth. Earth had changed beyond recognition. Cities now floated in the sky, held aloft by the combined telekinetic power of thousands. The oceans were clean, thanks to people who could control water at a molecular level. Elena stood on the bridge of the Starbringer, Earth's first official intergalactic ship. She looked at her crew, a mix of humans with various abilities and a few alien allies they had made along the way. "Ready for our first diplomatic mission?" she asked, smiling. The crew nodded, excitement shining in their eyes. They were headed to the Galactic Senate, where Earth would officially join the interstellar community. As they traveled through space, Elena reflected on the past 5 years. It hadn't been easy. There were those who wanted to use their powers to dominate others. But something amazing had happened. As people used their abilities for good, they grew stronger. Those who misused their powers found them fading away. Humanity had learned a powerful lesson. With great power comes great responsibility. The Starbringer arrived at the Senate, a massive space station that housed representatives from thousands of worlds. As they docked, Elena saw ships from civilizations she had only dreamed of. Inside the Senate chamber, silence fell as Elena and her team entered. The Emperor himself stood to greet them. "Welcome, humans of Earth," he said, his voice echoing through the vast hall. "You stand here today, not as subjects, but as equals." Elena stepped forward. "We come in peace, seeking friendship and knowledge." The Emperor nodded, then turned to address the Senate. 5 years ago, we feared what humanity might become. We tried to contain them. We were wrong. Murmurs filled the chamber. The Emperor continued, "The humans have shown us a new way. They have evolved not just physically, but morally. They have become what the precursors hoped for, a species that grows in wisdom as it grows in power." Elena felt a swell of pride, but also humility. They had come far, but there was still so much to learn. Over the next few hours, Earth was officially welcomed into the galactic community. Trade agreements were made, cultural exchanges planned. But there was one last surprise. The Emperor approached Elena privately. "There's something you should see," he said, leading her to a secret chamber. Inside was a swirling vortex of energy. "This," the Emperor said, "is what we believe to be a message from the precursors. For millennia, we've tried to unlock its secrets. Perhaps humanity, with its unique abilities, might succeed where we have failed." Elena stared at the vortex, feeling its power. She reached out with her mind, and suddenly, she understood. "It's not just a message," she gasped. "It's a key. A key to something enormous." The Emperor's eyes widened. "Can you unlock it?" Elena shook her head. "Not alone. This will take all of humanity working together." As they left the chamber, Elena's mind raced with possibilities. What secrets had the precursors left behind? What new adventures awaited humanity among the stars? Back on the Starbringer, Elena addressed her crew and sent a message back to Earth. "We've been given an incredible opportunity," she said. "The precursors left us a challenge, a key to unlock the greatest mysteries of the universe. It will take all of us working together to solve it." As the message spread across Earth and the human colonies that had begun to spring up on other worlds, a sense of purpose filled the species. This was more than an adventure. It was a calling. The Galactic Empire had once told humans to stay away from Earth. Now, humanity was poised to unlock secrets that could transform the entire universe. As the Starbringer set off on its next mission, Alina looked out at the stars. The galaxy was vast, full of wonders and dangers, but she wasn't afraid. Humanity had faced its greatest test, the test of its own power, and had emerged stronger and wiser. Whatever challenges lay ahead, Alina knew one thing for certain. The human adventure was just beginning, and it was going to be amazing.